everyone, today I'll be doing a solo Grandmaster run, The Disgrace, on Warlock with no anti-barrier mod. I added a loadout on dim, so it is in the description below. I do apologize, I do have a tiny sore throat at the moment. So I'm going to be relying on my trusty Stasis turret for this video. You don't have to use Osteo for this video. Mainly, of course, you can use Wish Ender to make the run 10 times faster. Let's just be completely honest. Mainly, this is just a challenge for myself of not using anti-barrier mods. So I will rely on Stasis turret and then decide to just use Osteo to clear down ads. So mainly what I'm doing over here is I have to clear up a couple ads because I know these resistant vandals are going to push and make me go down the stairs. It's gonna be a nightmare, so I decided to just clear down the ads first before dealing with the second servitor. If I do have a chance, and if the Stasis turret is being my best friend because it's completely RNG of how it behaves and which enemies it wants to freeze, which it wants to go. Like sometimes it just has a mind of its own, sometimes it likes to cooperate with me. It is completely RNG. It also depends of where you throw your grenades as well. So if I see a chance of doing the method of, let's just say we stasis trap it or turret trap the barrier champions, if I see a chance, then I just go ahead and take down barrier champions right away. During this part, I decided to just throw a turret and then just try my best to clear out as much ads as I can. So like I said before, I'm just using Osteo. You don't have to use Osteo, but as I said before, I'm just doing this mainly to challenge myself. So this run honestly was a complete nightmare, you know, because sometimes the turret, the one next to me right here, sometimes they cooperate, they help me out, and then sometimes it doesn't want to do anything. So that's why this run was a little long, and also because the boss fight was kinda annoying with the boss doing the dancing, being the dancing camper. So that's one issue that I had trouble. I'm gonna throw a stasis turret at the middle of the map because snipers usually spawn and they always walk to the middle. Now they spawn all the way from the far left side door. I didn't have time to go there. I mean, I could have, but you know, plan B was just to throw a stasis turret in the middle of the map and then just use Osteo. Now I remember they did buff Osteo, so Osteo is actually more powerful than ever. You can actually shoot enemies from a little bit far distance, which is crazy for a submachine gun. I just cannot believe how insane this weapon can be now. It got better than ever. Cannot believe it. But yeah, look at this. I'm a little far away from the fallen, but I can still do damage to it, and of course do the poison as well. But wow, it just got better. Osteo just got way better than previous seasons, or I would say than a couple of weeks ago. Now, when you do clear down the ads, then there's going to be the barrier champion. Now, mainly what I'm doing over here is trying my best to clear down all the Arc Seeker Vandals, because every time I want to do DPS, right, they're always going to be in the way. And then we're going to have these dregs always try to melee or sneak up on me. It's just a lot of things going on, and as I said before, you know, I'm not using any anti-barrier mods, so this run of course will be very slow. So mainly I do want to clear out all the ads first, and then I'm going to do the stasis trap on the barrier champions. Once I do the method of Stasis Trap, that's the only nickname I can think of for now, is once I do that, then I can get rid of the barrier champions. So now I'm gonna pull back, you know, get some heavy bricks. Unfortunately, I don't have shoot to loot, which is pretty bad. You know, could have made the run faster if I had shoot to loot, but I can't have it for this loadout, unfortunately. Now, for this method, there is this annoying barrier, adorable, by the way, barrier champion from the left side. It's just so adorable and dangerous, you know, this baby servant, this barrier champion. So I decided to do a cool method where I don't pass the line. So usually if you pass this door, this open door, then it's gonna automatically close. Now for me, I decided to throw a turret, wait patiently, clear down the ads, take down the barrier champion, and then this room is completely clean. It really works well with a Stasis subclass, or maybe, of course, if you want to go for Titan and throw and spam arc grenades, you can from that Pacific section, or from where I was standing before. Now we get to deal with another barrier champion and 3 wizards. It's just so fun, right? For you guys, not for me. Mainly I'm suffering and making this 5 times more harder than it should be in this video of not using anti-barrier weapons, besides just relying on the turret. There's going to be many waves of ads, and I have to be extremely patient. Now you must take down this barrier champion quickly. If you don't, then more ads will spawn, and it's going to mess up your DPS because the Stasis turret has a mind of its own. Sometimes it will freeze the barrier champion. Other times it's just not gonna feel like it. You know, it's gonna pretend it's SpongeBob and it's gonna be like, I don't know, Blitz. I don't really feel like it. You know, reference quote, by the way. And sometimes it does that, this turret. It doesn't feel like staggering or freezing the barrier champion. You know, sometimes it wants to do it, sometimes it doesn't. And yes, if you guys notice, the wizard can actually kill your Stasis turrets. So be aware that cursed thralls can kill the Stasis turret. The Shrieker can kill your turret as well. And unfortunately, the wizard can kill your turret. Yes, I know it's a bit disappointing, but it is way better than the healing turret, let me tell you that. With the glaive, oh my goodness, please don't use the Warlock glaive. The healing turret is horrible. It has the worst defense ever. Trust me, I have used it on a GM. I remember I used it and it died in 2 seconds. So just letting you know, if you're wondering how long does it last if it gets hit by any ads or anything. 2 seconds, done, and then you waste it. So I was trying to take down the barrier champion. I was just doing a test. So if you're wondering why I was just using Osteo, I was testing it if I was going to do the Stasis trap before using the heavy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. And now if you're wondering what happened there, is because my Stasis turret didn't feel like freezing the barrier champion. I was like, oh looky, an Arc Knight. I should freeze it instead of the barrier champion. It decided to do that, which I did not want it to do it, but like I said, RNG, by the way. And also depends on where you throw your grenades. So sometimes it wants to, you know, freeze the barrier champion, sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't work out, you can do at least quarter of the health of the barrier champion and then just take it down. For me, I decided to clear down the ads because they were just getting in the way of me dealing with the barrier champion servitor. So I tried again. I said, okay, what if I throw the Stasis turret next to the pillars so it can mind its own business of ignoring the Arc Knight? So far it's ignoring it, and I was like, wow, what a good idea to just put the turret behind the pillar. So everything looks to be okay. Alright, so I freeze the Arknights. You know, I'm suffering over here, so bear with me if this run is slow. Okay, I'm not using any anti-barrier. Alright, I'm trying my best to make this work. Alright, but like I said, use Wish Ender. You don't need to use Osteo. Osteo is just me of torturing myself because I want Guardians to see me suffer, basically. Alright, but yeah, I am using Osteo and trying to make it work, you know? Trying to make a loadout work. And I just thought it'd be pretty interesting to do a run with no anti-barrier mod. What I'm going to do over here is deal with the Shriekers. Now, the really cool thing about these turrets, which I find it hilarious and cool at the same time, is you can actually freeze the Stasis. Well, you can actually freeze the Shriekers. And then you can get your nice, sweet precision shots with the Sailspy Pitchglass. It's just so funny. I'm trying to see if I can show footage, because this run, by the way, actually took me longer than my hunter run. My hunter run, it took around 2 goes, and then for this one I lost count because I kept getting killed because I threw my stasis turret at the wrong spot and it just wasn't working out. Also because I ran out of heavy, I didn't know what to do, and then because I was just being extremely reckless and I kinda had the barrier champions. I shoot void melt me when I was standing at the wrong spot because I was trying to take down the champions fast, you know, and I was being impatient as well, and sometimes I was getting bad luck. So make sure you take down the Arknight. Now we have to deal with the Shrieker. The reason why the Shrieker is because even if you do DPS at the barrier champion, well, the stasis turret is going to try to freeze the Shrieker than the barrier champion itself. So now this is going to be probably the hardest part if you don't have anti-barrier mod. Now if you're using Wish Ender, of course this is a piece of cake. You know, you wouldn't have to worry about anything. Alright, so I was trying to have this turret please just freeze, or, you know, freeze the Shrieker so I can have an easier time to do precision shots. That's basically what I was trying to do over here, because if you guys notice, I only have about 8. Which is not looking good, by the way. 8, especially having 2 barrier champions from far away, and then we got 2 additional barrier champions. This is going to be a problem because the stasis turret can have a mind of its own. It can have a mind of its own because it has the ability to freeze the acolytes that are hiding away, freeze the void barrier champions, which I don't want it to freeze. So that means you have to throw your stasis turret at the right spot and take him down at the right moment. So it's a bit tough and it's really hard to explain. So it'd be best for me to show you of what I had to do. It does take time, by the way, and I did mess up my stasis turret. I actually had to wait for another grenade because it wasn't working out. And on purpose, I was going on red health so I can get my healing rift back. That was one of the reasons why I put the Stag over the double stasis, because I was getting my stasis turret more faster on Stag than the double stasis, than the gauntlets for the Warlock. So now I'm going to try my best to go ahead and see if I can freeze his barrier champion. So yeah, I was just trying to throw more stasis turrets so I can make sure and secure the stasis trap barrier method to deal with these champions. Basically to trap them with a turret. So everything was looking good. I was like, okay, well, I only have 4 more. So how is this gonna work? You know, I was trying to see how far distance I can shoot Osteo, but it wasn't working out. So once again, I'm gonna throw my stasis turret. And then see if the stasis turret is going to cooperate with me. So I was being extremely patient and I was feeling like I was suffering over here. So I decided to freeze a champion, back away, and then see if I can take down this very champion. Then it fell down. I was a bit upset, so I was like, okay, let's try a different method. Let's go for plan B. Let me see if I can get this barrier champion. Then guess what? Yeah, this barrier champion did not cooperate with me. So now I had to go for plan C, and this is basically me making up. So because this didn't work out, and I have these acolytes popping out of nowhere and being super aggressive with me, I had to go aggressive and be extremely careful and clear down these ads. Then we got this barrier champion hopping, you know, in the worst possible situation, you know, and I decided to just hug the wall so it won't shoot arc at me, throw stasis turret, and then just take him down quickly as possible because I already know this barrier champion is going to be extremely unfair and then just shoot arc at my face, which is not cool, not fair, but it did work out. I was like, wow, that's interesting. Maybe I should have done this method earlier on my hunter. You know, I was thinking about it, you know, when I was doing this Warlock run. I could have done this on my hunter, but it's okay. Nobody's perfect. Now we get to deal with 2 more barrier champions, and as I said before, I have to be very careful because I only can rely on a stasis turret to deal with barrier champions, and there are more barrier champions in this Nightfall than unstoppable. Just to let everyone know. Alright, so now what I'm going to do over here is deal with the next barrier champion. So the stasis turret was cooperating with me. It was being my best friend for this part. I was extremely happy. So I throw my stasis again. Had to wait patient again. And I was just doing a test with Osteo to see if it is going to be stasis trap. So that's why sometimes I just use Osteo instead of my linear to take down the barrier champion. Because sometimes I only have 2 or 3 on heavy, so I just want to just use Osteo first. Then just use the combo of freezing the champion if I do need to. Then I can use my heavy and then quickly use finisher. Now be aware and be very careful of entering to the next section. Sometimes if you rush through here, you can actually get killed by the invisible wall. Weird, but it has happened to me if I did try to rush. Now we're going to deal with 2 adorable, lovable, hateable barrier champions, well, servitors. I'm just going to be honest with you. These guys are a mess. They are a headache. Now, the good thing about this is you have the stasis turrets, so you can actually take your time clearing the ads first before dealing with these servitors. So what I'm doing over here is I'm trying to clear all these ads first. Then I'm going to do my best to deal with the barrier champions. And this is going to be extremely, not difficult, but annoying, because the stasis turret sometimes has a mind of its own, sometimes doesn't want to stasis trap the champion, sometimes it does, and like I said, RNG, and it also depends of the placement of the turrets. So now for this one, I actually had to wait because I need my stasis turret again to deal with this champion. So unfortunately, regain his health. and I was just a bit annoyed. You know, it just makes me sad every time the barrier champion regains his health. So now I'm gonna try to take him down with just Osteo, and the reason why is because I have 0 heavy. It's really nothing I can do a lot in this part. I just had to rely on Osteo. So remember, there is a sniper, so I was just trying to make sure I don't get 2-shot from this sniper that can melt me, especially when I am especially if I'm reckless. So just be very careful at this part. Wow, perfect. You know what? I always get the worst luck, you know. Every time I'm on Warlock, I get the worst luck. Like, why do I have a servitor? Like, why can't I just have a clean run where I don't have any ads I have to deal with? Anyway, the good news is I don't think there's ogres on this footage. So that's the good news, because usually if there is, then I'm gonna have a problem, especially on Warlock. But anyway, we're gonna go to the boss fight, you know, nothing can go wrong, right? And the boss fight, yes, the dancing camper. Yep, a lot of you guys were giving nicknames, which was funny. I was calling it a camper, and then we have one where they call it the dancing camper. Every time you break the solar shield, it starts moving around, trying to dodge all your attacks, like regain its health, and then spam arc. That's basically what the boss does, and the boss's health is extremely tanky. So let me just tell you, the super for the Stasis Warlock is completely useless. I know it sounds harsh, but it's the truth. Using the super for the Warlock is better to clear down ads than doing DPS on the boss. I'm just being completely honest. I know it sounds mean, but trust me, it's horrible. The only reason why I'm using Stasis turret, the only reason why I would use the super for the Warlock is just clear down the ads, which is pretty good, especially the waves of ads at the boss fight. Now, first things first, there's gonna be 2 barrier champions. OMG. Now I have to rely on my super and then my Stasis turret. So I was trying to see if I can trap one of the barrier champions. I didn't want to risk it because usually these barrier champions are extremely aggressive and they are not as dumb as the Arc Knights. So they can immediately back away when they're low on health, and I didn't like that, so I just want to take them down quickly and as much as I can. Now this part was a little dangerous, but honestly, I just didn't want to risk of them regaining their health again, because I didn't want to do DPS again. It's a nightmare, especially at this part. Now what I could have done over here is I could have just saved my super, used my super, and just go to the back of the map. I didn't do that for this method because I just don't trust the barrier champions. Now this one's going to be a bit yikes. Mainly what I'm going to do over here is spam turrets and then just try my best to do DPS at the boss. So I am going to just use Osteo over here. I'm just going to move around, freeze the wizards from far distance so I could actually use Osteo to do some DPS at the boss. So that's mainly what I'm doing here. Of course, if you're using Wish Ender, then you don't have to be near the boss. But anyway, I'm going to do a mini time skip over here because I'm going to do DPS until she floats away. Once I spent 3 minutes of my life because this boss was dancing around with its solar shield gone. Like, oh my god, my solar shield is gone. Whatever should I do? Now we can actually deal with more barrier champions. You can actually throw your stasis from the back. That way the wizards won't shoot and spam arc from far distance. It seems the safest, especially if you're trying to spam Osteo. Well, I guess Wish Ender, since I would recommend that over Osteo. and you can easily do heavy damage with Wish Ender, and then have the Stasis turrets to freeze and slow down the mini wizards. So I am using a different pulse rifle. It does have the adaptive. Now the adaptive perk for the pulse rifle works on the wizards, but not the boss. It is bugged, unfortunately, and I did want to use higher energy fire, but it doesn't work for the boss for this season. Maybe they'll fix it next year or 2 seasons from now. Mainly what I'm doing here is just abusing the power of Osteo and then just staggering the champion. Okay, so once I deal with Unstoppable Champion, now this one's going to be a little bit tough because now I need to deal with the Arknights. Now there is a barrier champion on top of the cliff, but I'm going to deal with that champion later. The reason why is because I need to deal with these Arknights. They're the ones that can give a hard time, to be honest. And if you do have heavy, highly recommend to use heavy if you have a lot. So these acolytes are very accurate when they throw your fire, so you must be aware of that. And then the acolytes can shoot void from far distance as well, so you must be careful. I was just double checking, and I think this is when I was being extremely reckless. I'm trying to remember what I did over here. So I was being reckless because I was checking if there's any thralls and they actually teleport on me or sneak up on me. I was trying to do DPS at the barrier champion quickly. This is an example of me trying to be greedy and why I don't like doing speedruns. So I think the acolyte surprise attacked me and literally almost one-shot me. So this is one of the reasons why I don't like to speedrun or be aggressive, because silly things like that can happen when you're trying to speed things up or you're trying to take that barrier champions fast. And for me, I had to do it because I don't have anti-barrier mod. So when the Stasis traps a barrier champion, especially that Pacific barrier champion, you have to take it down fast. If you don't, then you have to wait for your grenade again and again and again. And sometimes it can be extremely difficult because you can throw your nade at the wrong spot or you miss the mini platform. It's really hard to explain. You have to try it out, and then you'll see what I mean or what I'm talking about. But anyway, I am going to manipulate the barrier champions and then just use my Stasis turret. So I am trapping the barrier champion, and you know what's the best part? This is the last barrier champion we have to deal with for this entire Nightfall. I'm just so happy. Finally, the suffering is almost over. I was just completely exhausted when I was doing this run, to be honest. Like, doing this run with no anti-barrier, it was just horrible. But anyway, we were almost done with that. For me, yay. I was trying to make this bigger champion to cooperate with me. So here's an example of sometimes the Stasis turret just doesn't feel like freezing or slowing down the bigger champion. And the reason why I'm just using Osteo is because, well, I only have one heavy. One heavy, I mean, it's not looking good. So I decided to use Osteo and then use my finisher. Just be very careful if there's any cursed thralls or anything. I was just browsing around just to see if I could find some heavy. But yeah, be very careful when dealing with the champion on top. I think sometimes you could be reckless and just get killed by cursed thralls. So I was just checking once again any heavy for me. I did found a couple, but you know, good enough I guess. Now we get to deal with the boss. This is gonna be fun. We get to see Navota to camp around and troll around when the shield is broken. Perfect. So this is basically the level of patience of what you had to deal with the boss. Now I will do many time skips of me doing DPS the boss, but I will show some methods of what I did. So during the first phase, when you do break the shield of the boss, you could just consistently keep shooting at the boss, and then the boss won't even bother itself shooting arc. It won't even touch you. I was actually doing a test run, and I was trying to figure out what would be the best place to shoot or to throw the turret to make this boss not shoot me. Later, I found out throwing the turret on the top platform corner would be the best. I think I did in this footage, I'm trying to remember. But yeah, this boss can be extremely aggressive. And especially when the shield is not broken, it starts to spam arc. Now when the shield is broken, it starts to be a camper and dance around and then tries to hide all the way from the left side like a camper, I guess. And it could be extremely annoying. I really hate when the boss does that. So right now, I'm trying to clear down these ads. I was trying to figure out of how am I gonna make this boss to behave and make sure this turret shoots the boss, especially when it hides to the corner. So later I found out that if I throw the Stasis turret on the top platform corner, then I can actually make this boss move, and she won't even shoot arc at me because it's always consistently getting shoot or getting damage. So if you guys notice, this boss stopped shooting. This boss is not shooting arc at me. It's because the Stasis turret is helping me. So that's mainly what I did for this. So I throw a Stasis turret again, and then I try again. Just remember, depending how much DPS you do, you will have many waves of ads. So now I'm going to do it again, once again, until more waves of ads will spawn. So of course when the boss can teleport as well, so I'm going to do many time skip for this. Once I manipulate this boss from being a camper, then we're going to have the second waves of ads. So always try your best to use Osteo or Wish Ender. And then once you do, you just place the turret on the corner, top corner, left side, or the right side. And then you just continue doing DPS at the boss until it teleports. So I'm going to do a mini time skip for this one. Alright, so once I manipulate this boss again, now we're going to have more waves of ads. So this part is when there's going to be a lot of Arc Knights and Acolytes that shoot Void. And I would recommend you have your Stasis turret to freeze the Arc Knights. Sometimes they can really melt you, especially if you are at this spot of where I'm standing. Be aware that it can also throw fire at you, the Acolyte. I'm trying to make sure I can do precision shots dealing with the Arc Knights. So right now I'm just taking my time here, dealing with the Acolytes, dealing with the Arc Knights, dealing with the ads as well. So remember that there is an Arc Knight on the mini platform, or mini room, which I will show very soon. So once you freeze them, just spam arc, or you can spam Osteo. So just be very careful with them. So once I cleared out all these ads, now I'm gonna go and deal with the last Arcanite and then just go to the little sweet spot just to manipulate the boss. So remember, there is a Arcanite up ahead, so make sure you just try your best to do precision shots. You get to manipulate the boss and see it dance around like a camper. Great. So remember to break the shield during the first phase. I would say once you do enough damage at the first bar, then the wizard or the boss is gonna start getting aggressive and start shooting arc while it's moving when the solar shield is gone. So it's gonna be moving around. Let's see, it's gonna move left, then it's gonna go right, then it's gonna go left. Do I hear right? Left again? You know what? Maybe it might fall down. Who knows what it's gonna do? So once again, I throw a stasis turret, and depending how much damage you do, you'll have waves of mini ads. Now I am going to ignore it, by the way. And the reason why is because I really don't want to go back and forth and clearing down the acolytes. It just really gets annoying, especially if you mess up your Warlock jump and then the boss starts shooting arc at you from behind. I just don't like it. It's such a unfair death. You know, I just rather just do as much damage as I can to the boss and then clear down the ads last. It's really not a big deal, especially if you're using Osteo or Wish Ender especially. You won't really have any problems dealing with all the ads. Plus, you have Stasis Turret and you have the Warlock Super to clear down the ads. So, there's just 3 or 4 methods you can deal with all these ads that will spawn. So now I'm gonna make this boss move and dance around. It's gonna move to the left, then it's gonna move to the right. Do I hear left? Right? I'm gonna throw a turret, it's gonna have a shield and be aggressive. Oh, shield's broken. I must make a move to the right, left. Yeah, this boss is just super annoying. It's like, oh my god, what do I do? What do I do? I'm so confused. Do I go to the left or do I go to the right? My gosh, imagine how much glimmer I could get by making these predictions. Now we're gonna go to the second phase, and this is when the boss is going to be extremely aggressive. It's gonna start shooting arc while moving around during this part. So be aware that it does shoot arc when the shield is broken. Alright? And also, of course, when the shield is not broken. So I am trying to make the boss slow down a bit, so that's why I waited patiently. So he's gonna be, or she's gonna be moving around once again, and like I said, she will shoot arc, but the best thing is the stasis turret is going to help you a lot because it's going to definitely make the boss avoid of shooting the arc at you. Alright, so once we manipulate the boss, now I'm gonna go down and clear down all these ads. So of course I could go and take down the Unstoppable Champion. I didn't do it for this footage. I could have, but I decided to go to a different method where I'm going to clear all these ads, since I'm pretty sure everyone's curious of what do you do when you do DPS at the boss and then you don't want to deal with Unstoppable Champion because you died and went back to orbit. Well, here's another method you can do. So once you do enough damage to make the boss teleport, you could just go down here and then just clear the ads. Now there is Unstoppable Champion, but as I said before, everyone's different. You know, people will prefer to go to the mini room and then clear down the Unstoppable Champions and then the ads. Or you could just go down here and clear the ads first and then deal with the Unstoppable Champion. So the stasis turret is helping me out, by the way. I think I'm using, now I'm trying to remember, I am using Whisper of Chains. I'm using a Pacific Fragment where I can get high resistance when I have a friendly stasis turret, or if any enemies are frozen. I feel like that's better than Whisper of Rendering, because I know someone was going to ask me why not use Whisper of Rendering. It's really good, but for survivability, I just think the other fragment where you get high resistance is better, in my opinion. Especially when cursed thralls are in the way and they surprise attack you, because there's a lot of teleportation in this run, a lot of teleport bugs, and it can be extremely annoying. Just like Lightblade, if anyone knows, like cursed thralls just teleport out of nowhere. They do the same thing in this Nightfall. Now just remember, when dealing with the unstoppable champion, make sure you go up to the hill and make sure you take down the champion from this spot. That way you can deal with the unstoppable champion from this spot. Once again, I am going to take down the ogre and the mini ogre. I'm just really happy that they didn't put 2 unstoppable champions. I'm glad they just put 1 and 1 mini ogre. So now I am going to take down this unstoppable champion. So I'm going to do mini time skip for this one. Once I deal with the unstoppable champion, now we get to dance with the boss. This is going to be fun. So I will do mini time skip for this one, so I'll just show an example. I'm mainly just going to stay around here until it does shoot the smoke. And if I'm in a bad spot, then I will use my super. So I'm going to once again manipulate the boss and then just spam Osteo. That's basically what I'm going to be doing over here. So when I do see the boss shoot arc, I'm going to move away behind the box. Just going to jump or move quickly. So right now I'm just waiting for the Stasis turret to slow down the boss a bit. So that's basically what I'm doing over here. Once I do, I'm going to shoot Osteo and just let it poison the boss. So I'm going to do mini time skip for this one. Just make sure you hide behind cover every time you don't have a Stasis turret on you. So sometimes the boss during this part loves to throw smoke. Now if this happens to you, immediately use your super and pull back. So what I'm going to do over here is just clear all the ads because the boss decided to be a sore loser as always and put a smoke on my guardian. So now I'm going to pull back and just clear all these ads. So just be very careful with these thralls, especially the cursed thrall. You can also run over them. At the same time, you can also manipulate them by using your Stasis turret. So now I'm going to clear down the ads and then just do DPS again. So as I said before, if she starts to throw a smoke on your character, especially if you're behind a box, use super immediately, pull back, clear the ads, and then just start all over again. So I was just waiting for the boss to be distracted. So I threw my turret and just waited patiently. I wanted this boss to be slowed a bit so I can actually go up to the platform. So that's basically what I was doing over here. I just want to jump and then go back to DPS again. Back to square one. And the boss hates it, but to me this seems the easier method. So I'm going to do a mini time skip for this one once again. Once I tortured this annoying dancing camper boss, now we get to go probably the easiest part for the Warlock. Now we get to just spam Osteo, take our sweet time and just spam turrets. So during this phase we'll have 2 Arc Knights and a lot of ads since I did not take them down since I was just doing DPS at the boss. So I'm gonna throw a Stasis there. I should have thrown a Stasis a little bit more closer to me because the cursed thralls are going to destroy my Stasis turret. You can see the example over here. So that was my mistake there. I should have thrown the Stasis turret a little bit closer to me instead of a little far distance. So I was just trying my best to take down the Arknights. The Arknights are the ones are going to take you down. Now the cursed thralls, like I said, they sometimes teleport on you. So just make sure you know where they are. As long as you know where they are, they won't even touch you. Alright, so I was standing there because I had to stop and record again. So now, as I said before, you can take your time here and then just clear all the cursed thralls. So there's going to be another Arknight which I need to take down. I was just being very cautious with the cursed thrall. You can also throw your stasis at the bottom as well. So over here it was getting a little out of control, so there were a lot of Arknights, a lot of ads, so make sure you use your super if you see the Arknight being aggressive, decides to go up to the stairs, really awkward. Like, did you see that Arknight? It was just running up to the stairs like it really wanted to kill me. It was pretty hilarious. So once you do that, then you can just clear down all these ads, take your sweet time. And now we get to deal with the boss. So there is going to be, of course, one last thrall, and then there's going to be the last wave of ads. So I was just trying to see where this cursed thrall is, because like I said, they do love to teleport, so I don't trust them. So once I take down the cursed thralls, now I can actually deal with the boss. So now what I'm going to do over here is see if I can do as much DPS as I can. So I'm going to break the shield and then just switch to my heavy or Osteo and then just try my best to do DPS. So yeah, this is going to take a while. So I'm going to do a mini time skip for this one. Once I do a couple of DPS, this is going to be the last wave of ads. So there will be 2 Arknights, a couple thralls, so you can just spam Osteo. And just remember to take down the Arknights because they're the ones that can take you down. Mainly. So I am using my heavy. And then just putting a stasis turret to the wall so it won't get crushed. And now I'm going to take down the next Arknight. And then once I do, then I'm going to take down the remaining ads. Yeah, I was just trying to be very careful because sometimes if I use my finisher, then the cursed thrall will teleport, say hello Blitz, and then I die. So I was just trying to be careful. Alright, so I was just scouting a bit, seeing if I did clear out all the ads. So once I do, now I can actually spam my heavy. And I was just crying of joy, by the way. So now what I'm going to do over here, and then I'm just going to spam all my heavy. So I'm going to use all my heavy since I don't need it anymore. So that's basically what I'm doing over here. This is basically what you can do. You could just spam your linear. Spam Osteo. The boss will hide. It's gonna go back to square one during the first phase a bit. So I did try to use my super. I'm just showing proof that the super for the Warlock at the boss is completely useless. It's only good for clearing down all the acolytes and cursed thralls and ads. Alright, so once we kill the boss, then we complete the Nightfall. Finally platinum with no anti-barrier mod. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.